Our top story tonight at 11, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has ordered the state's National Guard to Minneapolis tonight as protests continue after a man was shot and killed by a Border Patrol agent this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm John Adams. This marks the third shooting in Minneapolis involving federal law enforcement agents. Right now, there are clashing narratives on what led up to the shooting. Maribel Gonzalez breaks down what we know so far. We do want to warn you that this story does contain cell phone video of the shooting and that it may be disturbing to watch.
An already tense scene in Minneapolis, Minnesota, now inflamed by the deadly shooting of 37-year-old Alex Preddy by a Border Patrol agent Saturday. Protesters were marching in the city calling for Immigration and Customs Enforcement to leave.
We're mad that our people are getting murdered. ICE is creating a massive problem here. They are the violence in this city.
The Department of Homeland Security said agents were conducting a targeted operation when an armed individual approached them.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
Several elected leaders are denouncing that account.
The Trump administration has already called Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. He was a nurse.
Video shows an officer appeared to move the gun just before the shooting, according to a CNN analysis. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz adds Preddy was a lawful gun owner. He's demanding a state-led investigation into the shooting, as state investigators claim federal officials are impeding their access.
The federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period.
The Minneapolis mayor says the city will seek a temporary restraining order to halt immigration operations there.
The chaos that we are seeing is caused directly by ICE, Border Control, and this federal administration.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Here in Portland, people are protesting today's shooting in Minneapolis. One group organized a rally, then marched to the ICE facility in South Portland. Many are still there tonight. Our Celine Stevens is joining us live now near the facility. Celine, there have been altercations through the evening. What's the latest there?
John, so right now it's a pretty, it's still an active scene. We're seeing around 100 or so people here right now at the moment. Definitely less than what we were seeing earlier this afternoon. But again, still an active scene. You may be able to hear the drumming behind me. As we were coming down the hill to this area we're standing at, we saw a plume of gas above the ICE facility. People were still coughing and sneezing. I have a pepper ball right now here in my hand. That's this little orange thing. So it appears multiple things have been being used throughout the evening. But again, I spoke with a lot of people today, and a lot of people are telling me that they are feeling fear after seeing a U.S. citizen being shot by a federal agent, but they still think it's important to come out here and make their voices heard.
At this point, if we stay inside, we're telling them it's okay to murder us in the street.
Protesters took to the streets Saturday evening, marching from Elizabeth Carruthers Park to the Portland ICE facility.
It could happen to anyone, community member who does Migrant Watch in Portland, people who hand out whistle kits, anybody who stands on a street corner or even dares to film ICE.
Protesters speaking out after hearing the news of the death of 37-year-old Alex Preddy, who was shot by federal agents in Minneapolis just weeks after the deadly shooting of Renee Good by an ICE officer.
They shot him dead in the street. I'm angry about it, and I don't normally come to these things, but I just thought I need to speak out.
I'm a teacher. My students are scared. This is not okay. My friends in Minnesota are updating me. It is scary.
Throughout the day, hundreds gathered at the facility, chanting, playing music, and some going right up to the gates of the building, leading Portland police to put out a message on X, asking people to not tamper with barricade doors or they will be arrested.
Overall, people are here to fight against the fascist government, and they're not here to hurt anybody else.
Walk, don't run, stay together.
At one point, federal agents did use tear gas, but that did not deter many.
Our voices need to be heard. They might tear gas us tonight, who knows? But people need to come out and speak their minds. This is not okay. The brutality needs to stop. Justice for Alex Preddy.
It's not safe to follow the law. It's not safe to legally carry a firearm. It's not safe to peacefully protest and observe. Nothing is safe anymore, so we have to be here.
Again, the environment is still pretty active out here. Again, around 100 or so people. We have seen tear gas or CS gas, some form of a gas used against people out here throughout the whole evening. But overall, things have remained mostly peaceful. Earlier today at the park, there was a counter protester, and that's where most of the altercation was happening. But out here, it's just been people out here chanting and playing music and such, getting a little close to the ICE facility, definitely, and that's often when the gas was being used. But overall, PBB says that there have been arrests. We are not informed about how many arrests there have been made, but PBB also made it clear that they have not used any munitions tonight. John?
All right, our Celine Stevens live tonight. Celine, we know you were there in the mix when the tear gas was released earlier. Please stay safe out there. Thanks so much for your reporting tonight. State leaders here in Oregon are also reacting to today's shooting. Governor Kotek and community leaders had gathered for a pre-planned roundtable about immigration enforcement when they learned of the fatal shooting. RJ Coulter was at that event.
It's alarming, and what we need the federal government to do is de-escalate the situation.
Heartbreaking, honestly, that we are living in a world in where our own federal government is shooting down people.
Another fatal shooting by federal agents prompting Oregon Democratic leaders to call on the Trump administration to pull back.
We are going to continue to see violent interactions regardless of the details because of the escalation of the federal government, and they need to pull back on the agents who are there, work with local government, and resolve and de-escalate the situation in Minnesota.
Kotek at the same time urging protesters to remain peaceful in the face of this shooting.
It is important for not only Oregonians but Americans to make their voices heard. And here in Oregon, we have been doing that peacefully and consistently, and I suspect that will continue.
The original purpose of Saturday's pre-planned event was to focus on what Oregon officials and the community are doing in response to increased immigration enforcement here in Oregon. State Democratic Representative Willie Chotson says he and his colleagues are working on a package of bills to continue addressing issues with federal agents on the state level.
So that's going to address issues ranging from masked police to making sure that we have accountability for the agents who are causing the chaos that we just heard about and that we're all seeing in our communities, as well as making sure we have, for example, schools have systems to notify families if ICE shows up to a campus.
And I want to say to Oregonians out there who think this does not concern you, it does. Our businesses, our economy, our schools, our neighborhoods, this affects each and every one of us, and we need to say no, we need to push back, and we need to stand up for our neighbors.
Again, that was our Jay Coulter reporting. We have reached out to state Republican leadership, including Congressman Cliff Benz, for comment. As of right now, we have not yet heard back. And stay with KGW for the latest on this rapidly developing situation in Minneapolis. We'll have updates both on air and on our website, kgw.com. All right, time to talk weather. There's going to be another chill in the air tonight. We're already looking at temperatures in the low 30s, looks like 30 right now in Portland. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to let us know how cold things are going to get overnight tonight. And Joe, there's also an advisory in place because of this cold weather, right?
That's right. We have a cold weather advisory in parts of the metro area and throughout parts of the valley as well. Well, the temperatures are going to continue to drop. We're looking at a temperature right now of 30 degrees from our Pioneer Park building camera in downtown Portland. The winds are light, but we're going to be waking up to another very cold morning. A lot of locations earlier this morning were in the low 20s to start things off. So temperatures drop overnight. We have that cold weather advisory, areas of widespread frost, below freezing temperatures throughout much of the valley, and next chance at rain the middle part of next week. And we could be seeing a weak disturbance arrive by Monday, but I think for the most part, the more measurable amount of rain won't be popping up until the middle part of the work week. But here's a look at that cold weather advisory. It's not in downtown Portland, but there will be some locations throughout the suburbs and throughout the valley that will be under that cold weather advisory. It's in effect now until late tomorrow morning. So we'll be waking up to temperatures around 8 o'clock, right around the mid to the upper 20s. We'll warm up a little bit. Daytime highs will be in the mid 40s, but just expect to see some very cold conditions to start off the day. And then we'll talk more about your detailed forecast and talk more about when and exactly how much rain is in the forecast, something we really haven't talked about in almost 2 weeks. John, back to you.
Yeah, it's hard to say this much dry weather this time of year. All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show. Well, the cold temperatures have prompted several cold weather shelters to open their doors tonight. Right now, the shelters in Tigard and Hillsborough will stay open through noon tomorrow. The Living Hope Church in Vancouver is also open tonight, as is the Father's Heart in Oregon City. There are several other shelters open this weekend across our area. We have that full list on our website, kgw.com. You can also call 211 if you need to find one of those shelters.